and silence within themselves so that they can learn how to manage their emotions at a very young age. You know, we let children throw temper tantrums until we get angry, and then we want to punish them and beat them up and hit them. Well, how about teaching them how to breathe into their belly at a young age so that when they're upset, they can find that peace inside themselves? There's this little example that I do with the preschoolers or the toddlers, and I tell them, imagine that there's all these colorful bubbles inside their belly, and you have about 5 yellow ones. Can you see the 5 yellow bubbles? Can you see the red bubbles? What about the blue bubbles? Do you see the purple bubbles? And they're just bouncing up and down. And all. Now let's see if you can breathe and have them all be still. And then we go into this breath, just looking at the bubbles, all the different colors, until all the bubbles are still. Well, by that time, a lot of them are asleep. But they have slowed down. They have sat still, you know. So if they're laying down, they'll go to sleep. But if they're sitting down with their eyes closed, they just get very present to the bubbles. And it's so funny how, you know, one time I did this at one of the preschools, and one of the kids said, this purple bubble just doesn't want to be still. So, you know, we ended up, I think we gave the purple bubble a name and we had to call a purple bubble by name and say, sit down and be still. And that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. You know, because children are so amazing, and their imaginations are absolutely just gorgeous. So we want to be able to just really engage them, because by the time they get in the 3rd grade, they have been stripped of their creativity and their imagination. Now, why would that happen? Why would that happen?
You took the words out of my mouth, because I was thinking to myself, very much so. That sounds very interesting. Do you have something to say about that? Is there something that you know about this?
Well, one thing that I've read some time ago was that when the universities were originally created, they were created by some of the so-called elite people in society, and it was actually designed to give people something to do so that they wouldn't get bored or get in the way of what other people were planning. You know, there was people that planned how they wanted society to go. So it was said that Rockefeller made a statement, you can teach them anything that you want to, but don't teach them how to use their right brain. So our education system is designed only to stimulate the left brain. And the left brain is the dull side of the brain. It's all logic, all reasoning, all math, all science. There's nothing exciting. Well, no, I take that back. It is exciting, but it's not as colorful as the right brain. And so, you know, why can't we incorporate both? And this is why, you know, in our community for people of color, a lot of the young people, you know, they leave school because our young people love, and especially our African-American males, they are right-brain oriented. They like to design. Do you know they like to use their hands and draw? And I mean, really, and you want them to go sit down for hours and just read? Now, yeah, that education system is not designed for creativity. And this is why now they go straight to prison systems, because we're not giving them the education that takes into consideration their whole brain.
Wow. I really, really resonate with that. And I think it's important for people to start to step back. I think that's why it's so awesome that we're doing this work inside of this solstice time frame, inside of this full moon energy, so that people can utilize this time to step back from everything that's being pumped towards us, go out, consume, and do too much, etc., and really start to look at some of these topics that we have been talking about, what you have just said is vitally important. By the time a child reaches third grade, their imagination and creativity has pretty much been very well stripped from them. That is something for us to really consider. Why do we continuously solely give our children over to that and give it over blindly at that? And then the other piece of what you're saying is, what is the actual purpose of the education system? And to really look at that, because if it's achieving that but children can't read, there must be a different purpose.
Yes. We need to look very closely at that system. And Iccha, I want to just emphasize a little bit of what you were saying, because the reason that, if you recall, when we started this conversation back in 2011, it was inside of a context of supporting our community and realizing that this time of year is a time of year for planting seeds, for being still, for regenerating, for relaxing, for restoring, and reconnecting and realigning ourselves with the universe. It's a time when everything in nature is asleep. Everything is asleep. Why are we running around like crazy, spending our hard-earned money that we have worked for all year? We give most of our money away this time of year, and we give out all of our energy. We give up so much of ourselves. We give up so much of ourselves during this time of year, when actually this is a time of year to be still. So we need to learn how to reconnect to the rhythm of the universe and really understand how the cycle goes. The cycle this time of the year is to rest and to nurture and to take care of yourself and to go inside. The bears hibernate for that very reason. And this is not a new year in January. What does the universe look like having something new where everything is dead? The real new year is the spring equinox, not the winter solstice. This is a time for planting seeds. And tomorrow, solstice means it's a still sun. It's the longest. It's the darkest day, right? It's the darkest day.
3 days, correct.
Correct. Yeah, it's the darkest day starting on the 21st. And then the sun comes up on the 25th. And that's when you start having daylight being full again, right? So we have to really get back into the alignment of the universe and really begin to live our lives more in harmony, and more in unison with a life plan and a purpose, and not get so caught up in what society is having us do, because it's a trick. It's really not designed for our well-being or our spiritual well-being. Let's say it like that.
Right. That's interesting that you, with just the things you shared, it feeds into what many would say just the whole miseducation that we go through. Can you take a moment and perhaps even look at the word education from an etymological perspective?
No, I don't do that.
Okay. Where I'm getting at with that is the traditional education is about putting things in.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, Greg. You do it. Yeah.
No,
that's a left brain thing from.
Oh, that's right. That's what you guys have me on here this evening. You're right. But in the traditional educational system, it's about putting something in versus true education is to educe, to bring something out or to bring something forward. And that's two different systems. So to bring something forward is more of a spiritual evolution, because you have to know, again, some of those nocturnal things about that child that needs to be pulled forth in that child's lessons. Yeah, so that's where I was getting at, if you can tie that all in.
Yeah, that's very good, Greg, because, even with my 3 children, my two sons are so different, but my daughter, we use a lot of different oracle systems as well inside of our work with our children. And my daughter, she's a king.
Can you explain that for us?
Okay.
When you use the word oracle, oracle system.
So we use the oracle system. Okay, in order to talk about oracle system, let me say that we are multidimensional beings, right? So we talked about, having this mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual way of learning, where then there's also other energies outside of us that we can't necessarily touch, with our senses. So when we understand or understand that we're multidimensional, then we allow ourselves to have access to those other things. We refer to them as superconsciousness, things that are beyond us, right? When we talk about metaphysics, that's beyond the physical. So the oracle systems that we use are able to tap in to other dimensions, other places where knowledge exists that we may not be able to see, and it's part of being able to align with the universe and trusting that everything in the universe is good, and everything in the universe is good, and people choose to use it for what they call good and bad stuff, but everything in the universe is good. So we use different oracle systems in order to extend ourselves beyond where we are. So it gives us another dimension of knowing ourselves. So one of the oracle systems that we use inside of our coaching practice is the love cards. And with the love cards, you can look at different levels of personalities based on the card system. Now, this system was designed in ancient Egypt, and everybody that does the research, and no matter whose publication you use, they tell you that this was an ancient Egyptian system based on a 52 deck of cards. And so for every day of the week, you have a card that matched the energy of that day. So if you were born on January 1st, then you are a king of spades. If you're born on January 2nd, then you are a queen of spades, and it doesn't matter what year it is. And it goes all the way through the whole day. So now when I look at how to raise my three children, even though my son is older and everybody has a different card, now I know how to interact with them based on the cards that they were, their energy is more prone to. And then I can look at the strengths. I can look at the weaknesses. I can look at what they came here to teach me as opposed to just always being the parent. I can also go inside of being a teacher. I can go inside of being a student with them because then I can see them as spiritual beings and not just my children. Does that make sense? Or can you get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we mentioned two of the oracle systems that we really get over into. Are there any other ones that you have found that you use to complement those two?
Yeah, we also use the Meduna Tear. I use the Meduna Tear a lot to actually read the energy of certain days. We use the Meduna Tear for quite a bit because we govern ourselves based on the energy of the days of the week. I know that I am Thursday born. So that means that a lot of the things that I do, I like to do on Thursday because I know that that's my energy. That's Jupiter. So you will, if anybody knows me, I'm very, Jupiter governs knowledge. It governs truth. It governs royalty, expansion. So if you know that I'm Thursday born, if you know me, I pretty much have those type of characteristics. And so when you understand people's, the different days that they're born on, you can actually see how to nurture them inside of that energy. And that all came from the language that we learned inside of the Meduna Tear that also has an oracle system.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is really powerful. I'm a Wednesday born being, and I have noticed some things that are true for me and how to nurture and support myself And my nieces and nephews, I started looking up their information too, so that I could really be, Auntie need to be present and supportive for them, because I could see it makes quite a difference.